Hi, everyone. My name is David Heller. I'm a financial advisor. I've been doing this for the last 16 plus years, working with individuals, families, business owners on ways to not only grow their wealth, but also protect it. This video today is an extension on my last video, which talked about the basic estate planning documents that everyone should have in place and the basic estate planning documents that any good trust and estate attorney will basically draft for you. I also explained our process as financial advisors on helping people coordinate everything so that way all of your accounts are structured correctly and are in alignment with your estate planning documents, whether that's a will, healthcare proxy, durable power of attorney, that type of thing. I did not go over how trusts come into play. I know there's a lot of other videos on YouTube that will sort of interweave trust planning into these conversations. I just want to keep this kind of basic. But the reason that I'm making this video specifically is a lot of videos that I've seen out there in the past just really talk about like the basics, the basic documents, what they are, and why you should have them. And they just kind of list it out. In this, as an extension of my last video, I'm going to go through a flow chart to really spell out for you exactly how the assets flow so you can visually see how the structuring of the accounts is so important, meaning like if it's jointly held, individually owned or held, as well as the beneficiary designations. Does it pass transfer on death, joint tenants with rights to survivorship, or is there an outright beneficiary named? The reason that it's so important is because if it's done correctly, it means that you can substantially spend less time when your estate goes through probate and have those assets passed directly to the beneficiaries who might need them badly. I mean, it just depends on the situation. So the example I'm going to take you through is very high level. I'm going to show you a younger couple in their 40s with two young kids and show you how those assets would flow and what the family would get access to shortly after someone passes away. All right, so here's my flow chart. Now I'm going to walk you through a young couple, like I was mentioning before, who have done some good planning, but not everything is perfect. So the goal here is just to show you which assets, again, are going to flow directly to the family so they can get access to it right away, and which ones get stuck in probate. It's simple, it's visual, and by the end of this, you'll know what you need to do to check your own plan. All right, so let's dive into this. So as you can see, we've got a husband and a wife, age 42 and 40. They are married. They've got two kids, aged 10 and 7. Now, in this situation, they've done all of their estate planning. They have wills, they have the power of attorney, they have the medical directives, they also have the living will as well. So all that's been done. Again, we're not going to involve a trust in here. That's just really a tool for people to have things bypass immediately, not be possibly counted for estate tax purposes. There's other reasons which I'm not going to get into now and confuse everybody. All right. So the husband dies. He's age 42. The wife is 40. As part of the will, the wife was named as the executor. So she's going to be the one in charge of settling the estate and making sure that everything can get through probate without any issues. Now, the key assets that they have, we're going to look at the joint assets that they currently have in place. So that's they own a house, which is valued at $1 million. The mortgage balance is around $600,000. The ownership is joint, and it's going to pass with rights or survivorship. So because the wife also is an owner, there's going to be no issues as far as this passing outright to the wife. No issues there. They also have a checking account. Let's say, for example, it's at Chase. There's $150,000 of cash in that account. The ownership of it is joint. It's going to either transfer on death or be payable on death. So because it's joint, again, the wife, it's going to just flow right to her. There's also a brokerage account that's jointly held at Fidelity. There's $500,000 in this account. Beneficiary for the account is going to be the wife. Now let's look at the individually owned assets, which are owned by the husband. So the husband at his current employer has a 401k, which is $300,000. The ownership is individual. He's named a beneficiary, which is his wife. He's also got a rollover IRA, which let's just assume it's at Fidelity. There's $600,000. He's the owner. The wife is the beneficiary. Now here, so everything is pretty good. It's going to basically bypass probate and get into the right hands immediately. There's also a checking account that the husband at some point opened up. It's individually owned, but no one's named. There's no beneficiary designations or instructions on who's going to get the account afterwards. It was just something he did very quickly and didn't think about it or wanted to get back to it at some point. So this is something that's very common that you often hear from working with different clients over the years. Also, the husband also works for a company where, as part of his compensation, he's awarded stock. That stock typically will vest over a period of years. Any unvested stock won't be awarded to him or his family, but anything vested typically would sit in a brokerage account. So let's just say it's $100,000. He's the ownership. And again, he got hired. He was just doing things in a rush. So he didn't name anyone as a specific beneficiary for these specific stock units or shares of stock. There is a life insurance policy, which is valued at $4 million. It's a term policy. The husband is the owner, the beneficiary is the wife. No big deal there. And then there's also kids 529 accounts, which have each one has 75,000, the other one has 50,000 for their two kids. These accounts are generally individually owned, and the husband is the owner of that particular account, and the beneficiary are the kids. And the beneficiary of those accounts are each of the kids. So the older one has 75,000, the younger one has 50. Now you do have the option with 529 accounts to have a successor owner named. In this case, no one was named. So when you look at everything here, I mean, this is a pretty simple situation. I didn't want to make this complicated where there was tons of moving parts. But I just wanted to extend upon that last video and visually show you how things work and how, yes, creating your estate planning documents are crucial because, again, it names an executor. It would name guardians in case both parents pass away at the same time, or one passes away and the other one's not around and there's a guardian for the children. All of the medical directives are in place. So basically, everything has been assigned in terms of who's going to do what. But what goes hand in hand and where we come in as advisors and work with a good trust and estate attorney is to make sure that the accounts are structured correctly that someone has, and that all of the beneficiary designations are also set up correctly. So that way, if something unforeseen happens and tragic happens, the point I'm trying to make here is that I just want to show you and extend upon that last video, which again, with the wills and the healthcare proxy and the medical directives, that's all super important because you want to name that executor. You want to name where things are going to go and who's going to be in charge of what. But just as important, and where we come in as advisors and work hand in hand with the trust and estate attorney, is just to make sure that all of the accounts, so whether that's checking, the house, the retirement account, the brokerage account, the life insurance policies, that those are all structured and owned correctly, and they have the appropriate beneficiary designations, which would align with what you have in your will, or maybe not. And so, because what happens again, a lot of times is people create these accounts, like I was talking about before, and sometimes they're in a rush. They don't think about it. They don't have all the information for whatever reason, and they forget to update it, or they named a brother or a sister because they opened their life insurance policy 10 years ago and then they got married and had a kid and they didn't change the beneficiary, or whatever the case may be. So by doing things correctly, you can see all of the assets that flow that's in green, which are going to avoid probate. So what the family has access to, maybe not day one, but pretty immediate, and also can avoid probate, which is the legal process of finalizing your estate and making all the distributions, is that the house is just going to pass out, right? The Chase checking account, the wife would have access to immediately. So she'll have that 150,000. Let's keep in mind too, and let's play out the scenario the wife is not working. There's also the brokerage account, which has single name stocks, some ETFs, and a mutual fund or two. There's 500,000 in there. That had a named beneficiary. That's going to transfer over. Not a problem. Life insurance policy, individually owned. There's a named beneficiary. No issues there. The current 401k and the rollover, again, those had the appropriate beneficiaries and instructions in place. So those are going to pass directly, avoid probate. The problem is with those is Until you get to age 59 and a half, you can't access those. Now, what the family doesn't have access to and what they're going to have to wait for and go through the whole probate process, which, as we looked at in the last video, can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, maybe even longer. Cause a lot of headache, a lot of distress, and a lot of unnecessary funds that maybe you don't want to be paying out. So that Bank of America checking account, as you see here, that 150,000 is going to be stuck in probate, as well as the vested RSUs or the vested stock units. Let's just say at $100,000. Again, not astronomical amounts, but maybe that wife needs that 150,000. Maybe they want to have access to those stock units that have vested because maybe they want to sell the shares, they don't believe in the company, or something really bad happens with the company and the stock plummets. I mean, there's just so many different things that can happen. So again, as I talked about in my last video ad nauseum, do you want clarity for your family in terms of making sure that all these assets end up in the correct place? Or do you want chaos? Which is riskier? Okay, so hopefully this helped in terms of just giving you a visualization. Again, the idea wasn't to have some like crazy example that's complicated but it was just to make it very rudimentary so you could see how everything flows and why all the things I've been talking about in this video and the last one are so important. So the common mistakes that we usually see in this situation is that there's no transfer on death or payable on death as far as the bank accounts are concerned. I've seen certain individuals have 3-4 different checking or savings accounts that are open. So you want to double check all of those for sure. Also, no contingent beneficiaries on any of the retirement plans or even life insurance policies. A lot of times people don't name someone specifically or name some entity or whatever. Also, RSUs, a lot of times, again, these are vested stock units, and I realize that not everybody's going to have this, are also often overlooked and or forgotten. So it's really important that you update your estate plan every couple years because things are just inevitably going to change. But be cognizant too and work with your advisor. Your advisor should be on top of this, is to make sure that everything is structured correctly. The proper beneficiary designations and where accounts should go are in alignment with where you want them to go. They're in alignment with your estate planning documents. And again, the idea is clarity over chaos. So I hope this video was helpful. I haven't seen too many of these like flow chart type videos online in terms of estate planning and where things end up and how long, what's the process for actually getting access to these accounts. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. That helps our channel grow tremendously. Unfortunately, you can't leave comments. Thank you for that compliance and all the regulations, but I guess you got to do it. If you want to talk to me, there's a Calendly link in the description below. Feel free to click on that and book some time with me if you have any questions or need some help in whatever area. Also subscribe so that way you can stay up to speed on any new content that's coming out. And we'll see you in the next one. You're ready to take your financial planning to the next level with a customized approach. Feel free to reach out to us. This way we can help determine if we can even help you or even point you in the right direction. The best way to reach out to us is through our website at sandersmith.com. Thanks for watching. For more valuable tips on financial planning, check out those videos here. And if you found this information helpful, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content.